go on. So, welcome everyone. We are super happy to welcome you to this exceptional webinar. You are more than 450 from 42 countries around the world to register for this webinar. So it's just incredible. And we hope that this hour and a half together will give you lots of inspiration and energy to embark on a career with impact. So thank you very much for being here. During this webinar, we'll start with an introduction with Adele from Ticket for Change. Then we'll have an inspiring testimony. And then we'll have privilege exchange and round table with three incredible changemakers. We'll have a quick presentation of this new training journey we want to present to you. And finally, we'll have a discussion with a subgroup sharing on the impact you dream to have in your country. So welcome everybody, and thank you again for being here. I'm Josephine. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ticket for Change, and I'm very pleased to host this webinar with Romain and all the team. Ticket for Change is a French school and movement for changemakers. So we have helped more than 120,000 people to find their own way to change the world through their work. And today we want to spread our impact abroad, first with this international training journey to become a changemaker, and then by training other entrepreneurs to replicate and adapt the model in other countries. So if you want to know more about this, you can visit the website. A big thank you also to all the people who will be working and facilitating this webinar with Romain and I, and thank you again to those who are providing all the technical support to ensure that everything goes well.
Thank you, Josephine.
Romain,
thank
the
you.
floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Very great to meet you, and happy to see your faces also for those who put their camera on. So I'm Romain, Executive Director of the Purpose Center of HEC Paris, a European and world-leading business school. We conduct precisely in this center scientific research on purposeful leadership, and we help students to nurture their quest for meaning in their work and purposeful leadership, and to become leaders for a more responsible capitalism. So we're so happy to share this moment with you all. And as Josephine said, there will be some moments of interaction too, so don't worry. And we try to, okay, so you can use we'll use an app which is called Klaxoon. So please, if possible, you can use the Zoom chat for any technical question, but for all of our interactions, you can use the Klaxoon app. So it's very easy. I'm sharing with you now the code to access it on your computer or your phone, and you don't need to create an account. You just can access it very easily with the nickname. And so we're going to test it in a few seconds, just making sure you can connect through this code and this slide. And then we will test it for our first interaction and the first question, because we will we'll be glad also to have your answers on many topics during this hour and a half together. So thank you for the link here. I think you can start to answer this question. And the question is about, where do you live? So can't wait to see the answers. Okay. Do we have the first answers on Klaxoon? Thank you, Sophie. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. There's big diversity, well, a bit majority in European, but a great diversity. Thank you, everyone. And that's amazing. Very happy to see you now. So I pass the baton to Adele. I will spend a moment with you for powering up. Thank you, Adele.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Romain. So I'm very, sorry. Do you hear me well? Yeah? Okay, great, amazing. Hello, everyone. My name is Adele. I'm one of the co-founders of Ticket for Change, and I'm a somatic coach. So what it means is that my obsession is about creating or recreating the links between our mind, heart, and our body. You know, our body, this thing we often forget about and that we only put on a chair all day. So in Ticket for Change, we consider that it's not only important, but necessary to bring the body into all of our programs and into an online webinar about becoming a change maker. And we have many, many reasons to believe it is important, but I will tell you only two. The first reason is to embody the change you want to see in the world, because your body is the first thing people see and feel of you. So it reflects the values, the messages, the vision you have for the world. And the second reason is to take care of our personal ecologies. We need to realize that our mind, body, and heart are functioning as an ecosystem, and that taking care of our body is also taking care of ourselves. So we believe that this triptych, head, heart, body, is the best way to promote action. And now I'm gonna stop talking to your head and embody what I just said. And we're gonna do a short game or exercise all together with our bodies. So this game is we're gonna play is made with the constraints we have. The constraint is that it's an online webinar, so we're not in the same room, and it's a lot harder to engage in our bodies. But we're gonna switch this constraint as an opportunity, because that's what change makers do. So I'm gonna ask you to all put your cameras on, please. And that's gonna be quite amazing. Okay, so many of you, it's great. Okay, now, second and hardest task, I know, you're gonna stand up. I know it's hard. But you know, we wanted for you to be not only spectators of this webinar, but also actors. Okay, amazing. So don't be afraid. It may feel weird for some of you. You maybe never have done something like that, but the amazing news is that you're absolutely alone in your room. We are 200, no one is watching you, so you can do whatever, okay? So it's a very simple game of stretching up. Now that you're standing up, you're gonna try to fit, you know, put your head, play with the thumbnail, your screen, you know. So you put your head just at the limits of your thumbnail, you know, the vignettes, okay? And now you're gonna try just to stretch as if you wanted to push away the thumbnail with your head, as if you wanted to push away the screen, okay? You feel all your neck and head stretching up. Okay, now adjust your position and try to distance yourself from the screen so that your hands are touching the sides of the thumbnail, okay? And now push as if you wanted to push away the sides of the screen. Push away, more, okay? You can try now to push, you know, in diagonal. So you always have to adjust your position. So you always touch the very end of the screen, the other diagonal. Okay, it's really hard. Okay, you can now put, like both your hands on one, as if you wanted to push away more. Continue. You can do up. You can do down. Push. Now the right side. Push. Okay. Now harder. We're gonna do this with our legs. Okay, so you go a little further and you try to push with one leg, or it could be a knee. Okay. You can do both legs and arms if you're really good. Feel your whole body stretching. Okay. And now you can also try, like leaving the screen. If everyone leaves the screen, and just try to, stretch maybe one leg to go back to the screen, or one arm. Yes, we can see some arms, some shoulders. Okay, you can go to the other side of the screen if you want to do it the other leg. Just continue to play with the constraints with this thumbnail. Okay, now go back to the screen. And now we're gonna have, a stretching. So go, how do you say, closer to the screen. No, you stay up. And now last stretch of the face. Okay, so you can see those beautiful faces. You can either massage or do faces. Yes, I can see very beautiful people with very beautiful heads. And just prepare your body and your face to smile and be inspired by what's coming up. Okay, and final step of the stretching. I wanted to take a step back and again, stretch your arms horizontally and try to make like a line with the people, next to you in the screen, of course. So try as if you wanted to grab the hand of the person on your right and on your left. So normally we should see a whole line of arms joining. Yes. And I just wanted to take, a few seconds there and realize how incredible it is. As Josephine said before, we are from 42 different countries, and we are all together today for this webinar. We are linked in a way, and this is a way to embody this link and to realize that we're connected from all around the world with some shared interests, some shared values, which all brought us together to this seminar about becoming a change maker. And I don't know about you, but I feel it's quite amazing and quite moving to realize that we are all connected. Okay, I can see some people having difficulties staying with their arms like this. So we can just relax and shake all of our body. Thank you, everyone. I hope you feel ready to listen to our amazing speakers. And I leave you with Romain to continue.
Yes, thank you, Adele. Thank you for this moment. It's indeed very insightful. Thank you. And I propose to continue on this collective deep dive and to step back again and to ask ourselves some big questions. So, for instance, what does it actually mean to be a change maker in the 21st century? And what does it take to be one? What's the change we want to see in the world? That's an expression we already heard. And how to get there? So to continue and to have a view on these pretty big questions, we wanted to solicit a person that you see the face here on the screen, who inspires us greatly with his wisdom. So Satish Kumar, that you will hear in a minute, is an outstanding change maker. He's been inspiring global change for over 50 years, namely famous for being the founder of the Schumacher College, a British college dedicated to ecology and which seeks to offer a new way to educate and to transform education itself. So Satish is based in Great Britain, and he puts his theories into practice to prove that wherever you are, and by the way, we've seen what wherever can mean, as we are all gathered here today. Happiness is within your reach. So Satish could not be with us today, but we met him a few days ago. And here is the message he wanted to share with you all.
My name is Satish Kumar. I am founder of Schumacher College in England. It is my great privilege and honor to speak to this gathering of change makers. Ticket for Change. What a beautiful name and a beautiful title. I want to say to you what I understand by what it means to be a change maker. To be a change maker, you have to believe in yourself. You have to trust yourself that you can be a change maker. That's the first step. Then you have to cultivate courage in your heart and drop all fear. When you have fear and no courage, you cannot be a leader. You cannot be a change maker. So to be a change maker, you have to cultivate courage. You cannot be a change maker. Then the next step is to be the change that you want to see in the world. You cannot preach other people to change without you and we ourselves changing. So be the change that we want to see in the world. Be the radiator of change. Like a radiator radiates heat and warmth, you radiate change. So this way you can start. The next step is to be a change maker, you have to see the world in a different way. At the moment, majority of the world sees nature and humans separate. And we see nature as a machine and planet Earth as a dead rock, and humans as a superior to nature, and therefore they can do to nature what they like. They use nature for economic growth. Nature simply becomes a resource for the economy. So a change maker had to change this world view, this paradigm, and we have to see that nature is not simply a resource for the economy. Nature is a source of life itself. Nature is not a machine. Nature is a living organism. Our planet Earth is not a dead rock. It is a living organism. If we have that worldview change, then we can implement that change in our social, political, economic organizations. But unless we have a different worldview, whatever we do externally, it will not make big difference. So that's my next suggestion. And the next suggestion is that we also have to see humans as dignified beings. At the moment, we look at human beings and also see them as a resource for profit, for running organizations, for making money, for production, for consumption. We have a department called HR. HR simply means human resources. Now we have to change that. To be a change maker, we have to transform humans as a resource to HR should be human relationship. Not human resources, but human relationship. So this way, we see nature having integrity and humans having dignity, and economy, production, consumption, profit, organizations, business, industry, politics, everything else is a means to an end. The end is human dignity and integrity of nature. If you can have that approach, then whatever you do, whatever organization you make, that will be a real agent of change, and that will be the real ticket for change. I would like to say to young people who are students and leaving universities and going in the world, I want to ask you to cultivate courage and do not seek a job, but create your own job. You have capacity, you have potential to be a great architect, to be a great poet, to be a great farmer, to be great a dancer, to be great artist, to be a great in anything. You have imagination, you have a creativity, you have a courage, you have potential, you have two hands with which you can make things. You can transform ordinary clay into a beautiful pot, ordinary piece of wood into a beautiful furniture. A brick by brick you can build a house. You can create a garden. You can cook food and become a chef. You can do anything you like. Have that courage in your heart and go in the world and be your own master. Be the CEO of your own life rather than just following orders of some boss who says you do this, do that, and you just follow the orders, and you have no opportunity to use your imagination and your creativity and your courage and your vision for the future. So if you want to be a real change makers, be your own boss, create your own job. It will not be easy, but don't look for easy answer. I want you to climb the Mount Everest of life. And it will be hard, but the reward will be great, and you will feel more contented, more fulfilled, and more happy. And if you just get a job and have a salary and there's a security and you get a pension and you retire and you die and there's no fulfillment and no happiness and no contentment. So I would ask you to go with courage and build your own life and create your own life and be the agent and the messenger of change. It is wonderful that you have been at HEC and you are attending this conference of Ticket for Change. That will give you encouragement. These are two wonderful organizations which are encouraging young people to be courageous, trust themselves, be a leader, be the change maker, and believe in yourself. These are the wonderful qualities that HEC and Ticket for Change are offering you, and I hope that you can take these qualities with you and go out in the world, and good luck to you.
Okay, can you hear me well? Okay, okay. Okay, after these very, very inspiring words from Satish, it's time to give the floor to three amazing changemakers with different backgrounds. You are very lucky to have them with us. And we are very lucky to welcome Jigyasa from India, Mavie from Philippines, and Mathieu from France. And so we are happy to have this time with you three. And before starting the roundtable, I just want to remind you that you can share your questions on the Klaxoon. And if someone posts on Klaxoon a question you had in mind, please like his or her question so that it has more chances to be shared with our speakers at the end. So I'll start with some questions for you, and then we'll take your questions. So thank you, Mavie, Jigyasa, and Mathieu, to be with us today. I'll start with 2 questions for you. The first one is, can you present who you are in 1 minute? I know it's short, but I know that you like the challenge. So can you present who you are in 1 minute, and then what triggered you to get involved in your work? What led you to become a change maker? So maybe Mavie, you can start.
Sure. Thank you, Josephine. Hello, everyone. My name is Mavie Ungco. I am calling all the way from Manila, Philippines. So it's around 10 p.m. my time, 10:30. So good evening to everyone. I guess it's morning where you are. So I am currently the Chief Executive Officer, or the incoming Chief Executive Officer of Teach for the Philippines. We're a local organization, and we run education programs within the public school system of the country. So we have a pretty big nation. We're a nation of more than 110 million people. We're an archipelago across 7,000 islands, and there's incredible diversity. In my country, we speak about 200 languages. Also, unfortunately, I guess just to situate the context that I work in, the Philippines ranked 79th out of 79 countries in the last PISA test. And they found that only 1 out of 5 Filipino students achieved a minimum proficiency level in reading and numeracy. And so I work in the education space, and I've worked here since 2016, and this is my first development job, and I've never looked back. I haven't looked back since. The reason why I work in education is because I feel like my life, my personal story is a testament to the transformative power of education. I would not have had access to the things that I've had access to, opportunities that I've had access to, if I wasn't able to complete my education, and if that didn't open doors for me. And so my being in this space and being in education work is my way of giving back and holding the door open for people like me who were given tremendous opportunities to make the most of their lives. And so I'm very honored to be here, and I'm happy to share about my personal journey and my experiences so far working in development.
Okay, thank you, Mavie. Thank you very much. Jigyasa, who are you, and what led you to become a change maker?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Jigyasa. I'm joining in from Dharamshala in India, so which is right at the top in the Himalayas. And who am I? I'm someone who cares deeply about every child having a safe space to express themselves, no matter what background they come from. And I am the co-founder at Slam Out Loud, where we create such safe spaces for children using the arts. I lead partnerships, programs, I work on design at Slam Out Loud, where we use art forms like theater, storytelling, spoken word poetry, visual art, to bring the magic of creativity and confidence to children who come from low-income backgrounds across India. We work across 5 states in India as of now, and we've also very recently started a pilot with the government in Finland. Why I do what I do, or what triggered it, was essentially me once walking into a classroom where I was doing a poetry workshop. And I asked children, there were about 35 children in this classroom in Kashmir, which is a high conflict area in India. And I asked children to pick an emotion that they wanted to speak about. And about 30 of those 35 children ended up picking up emotions of anger, confusion, sadness, hate. While I didn't have a response to those kids on that day, I feel that Slam Out Loud is a response to creating such safe spaces where children can talk about how they really, really feel, and bringing the magic of arts for them to discover their own voice.
Thank you so much, Jigyasa. Thank you for being here. Mathieu?
Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Mathieu. Very happy to be with you today. So I've been working for Danone during 17 years as HR. So maybe not human resources, but human relationship builders, as Satish was saying. And as I'm working part-time for Ticket for Change since 6 years. My purpose is really to reveal and support talents who wants to make a positive impact in this world. So it's my way to reconcile my HR background and the impact I would like to do with my own job. The trigger for me is that I did a round the world trip in 2013. And it really was an eye-opener on social issues and environmental issues. When I came back, I started to commit myself in different NGOs and associations outside of work. But after many months, I was frustrated to have this kind of superhero role outside of my work. I would like to reconcile who I am outside of work and inside my job, in my day-to-day job. That's why I started to find solutions on how to act within my own job, within my own companies, to make the difference. And started to build a social entrepreneurship program within Danone. This is where I met Ticket for Change. And as I love this, I decided to continue. And this is what I do with the whole team today, to continue to support leaders and workers in different organizations to be actors for positive impact and impacted transitions.
Yeah, thank you, Mathieu. Thank you so much. It's great to see how we could be, how different it could be to be a change maker in our work. So we'll have more question about that. I have a specific question for Mavie first. So how do you know you are in the good place at work right now? It's what you're going to share in this MOOC, but it's nice to hear you on that today.
Thanks. So I guess there's several criteria, right? I think different people have different criteria for defining what a good place to work is. I think for me, my very crude checklist would have to include, number one, does the thing that I'm working on, does it feel meaningful and purposeful? I've always, I've always gone for jobs or careers or professions that I've always had like a social slant or a public agenda attached to it. My first job out of university was, in fact, to be a journalist. So I was in media for the first 3.5 years of my life. And, a lot of the skills that I learned there, from storytelling to dealing and managing different stakeholders, I continue to use until this day. But one thing that's guided me and that's cut across my entire career, which is, I believe is almost 15 years now, I've been working for almost 15 years, is really that social aspect. Like, do I feel like I'm helping to solve a social problem or an issue or address an issue? And am I able to find meaning there? So I guess that would be top of my list. The other thing on my list would be whether there is a culture or enabling environment in the place that I work where I feel like I could genuinely make a contribution. And it's very hard to define, very hard to measure or quantify what that is. But essentially, if you feel like your voice is heard, even if you feel like you're not the primary decision maker, right? Are your inputs heard? And do they inform decision making in the place that you work in? Before I was promoted to one of the top leadership positions in my organization, I started out as a manager. So I essentially have occupied almost every role available in our relatively flat organization. And I'm super happy and proud to say that, the place that I work in currently has a healthy culture of feedback and also incredibly merit-based, which is something that, I think many people understate or don't realize how important it is in terms of fostering creativity and creating a safe space for people to put forward new ideas in order to solve problems more effectively. And then I guess the last piece, which also speaks to culture, is a genuine orientation towards people, treating people as human beings, recognizing that, dignity is important, and that cuts across and translates to, are you paying people fairly? Are you giving them enough time to take breaks and take care of their personal needs? Do you have any specific inputs or deliberate inputs on encouraging well-being for people in your team and in your staff and in your organization? So I would say that there are many other things in my list, but those would be the top three criteria for just determining whether it's a good place that I'm in or whether it's time to think about moving on someplace else.
Thank you, Mavie. It's super clear. I have a question for Jigyasa now. Can you share with us the achievements you are the most proud of?
I was on mute. More than a year of this and still not learning. I think I want to build on top of a little bit of what Mavie shared, and that's been about people. When I think of achievements of Slam Out Loud, I think about the team that we've been able to create. We're about 25 full-time people now, and each one, on our team, is someone who's so passionate about their work. Everybody goes above and beyond their role. Everybody works together to make sure that things happen. And I feel like, especially as an organization that's operating in a niche, we work in arts and education and in social emotional learning. It doesn't get more specific than that, and yet to be able to find beautiful, talented people who are passionate, who have the skills, smarts, and the attitudes to get all our children to have quality artistic education. I think that's been one of the most beautiful achievements of Slam Out Loud that has happened because of the team. Very recently, we launched applications for teaching artists, and we had about 15 positions, and we've already had more than 700 people who've applied for these 15 positions. So I feel grateful that our work is seen and more people want to become a part of the movement. Apart from that, it's our children. A lot of people get to know about Slam Out Loud when they see our children performing at different national and international platforms. So many of the children have spoken across multiple TEDx platforms, Spoken Fest, national festivals of art, and people recognizing our work through our children is something that makes me really proud of our children.
Wow, congratulations. Thank you for sharing, and congratulations again, Mathieu. I have a specific question for you, and you can don't forget to write down your question on the klaxon. We'll have time for them just after. Mathieu, my question for you is it really possible to transform a big company and to integrate social and environmental issues at the very heart of the strategy? And do you have an example to share with us on that topic?
It's a very good question, Josephine. An interesting one. If changing a big company is like a superhero or a magician with a magic wand, thinking that you will change it from a day to another, the answer is no. I don't think so. It's not possible. Sorry. If changing a big company is about identifying what moves you, is about daring to dream, is about building alliances, is about starting with small actions, showing that it is possible, taking your time, failing, learning, and starting again, then yes, I think it's possible to change big companies. The bad news is that the world is becoming even more complex with the VUCA world, as we all know. The good news in that, I think, is that in this complex world, the organizations need change makers. They need those people acting like citizens within organizations. They need the whole people in those companies to find solutions to complex problems. And why it's possible, I think, to change things at the heart of the strategy is because we have also an emergency of many new models like B Corp, gathering companies to be a business, to use business as a force for good, that we have models with a purpose-driven company or entreprise à mission in France, to really structure the balance between economic and environmental and social impacts. So yes, I think it's possible in that way. And with Corporate for Change, we had the chance to work with incredible change makers that show the way, that pioneering the way. I have in mind the example of Jade Moza in Les Deux Vaches company, who worked on the certification of B Corp for our company. And she really managed to gather the whole team to really be impactful and reconcile this economic and social impact. I have met Camila Garcia in Bledina. She made a B Corp champions community to be not only one change maker, but many change makers moving things toward this business as a force for good. I have met Sophie Menez in Noroto. Her way was more an entrepreneurship way. She built an internal project called Mana Ara to reinforce the inclusive mobility for people who have difficulty to access to it. So I've seen many corporate change makers who have their own place in their own job, starting to move things to really starting the change in those big organizations. So yes, I think it's possible, but it's depending a lot on the postures.
Okay, thank you, Mathieu. Before taking the questions from the audience, don't forget to write down your question and like the question you like from the other. I have a last one. Maybe I have a final question for all of you. Do you have any advice? Maybe one of the most important advice you have to share or you received in your personal journey. So do you have any advice to share with anyone willing to become a change maker and build a career with purpose and impacts? Maybe Mavie, you want to start?
Gosh, that's a tough question.
Yeah, I know it's tough, but it's super inspiring for the audience.
I've been working in development for 7 years. By no means like an old timer. I know people who've been in this work for decades, so they're probably in a better position to give advice. But if I were to share, I guess, a piece of small wisdom, what Mathieu shared really resonated with me. Change really is possible. Otherwise I wouldn't be in this job. I think it's important for people to be in this work, whether it's in social justice or any kind of development work, to believe that you really have agency and that you have the power to transform things. But I would also caution against overly romanticizing this work. This work can be very hard. On the day-to-day, sometimes it can feel like you're not changing things and you're going against a wall. And there's so many things and the problems all seem insurmountable. So I guess, if you were to do I would advise that you have a very clear why. You know why you're doing this. You're very intentional about the problem that you want to help solve. You want to know exactly, you want to spend your life and most of your days working on this problem with other people. So I guess that's one. And then I guess the next piece is focusing on being very aware of what is within your locus of control. Meaning at any given day, at any given week, or any given month, what are the things that you have the power to change, to tweak, to adjust, or to transform, whether in a minor way or a major way, and just focus on that and do it diligently and to the best of your abilities on the day-to-day. Because that's really how you stay. Someone once told me it's when I was working like 14-hour days straight and not getting a lot of sleep, like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think when you're working on really complex problems and really big issues across the world or wherever you are from the world, I think that matters. That matters a lot. And you need to keep that close to your heart so that you don't burn out and that you have more to give. And you can stay on this race far longer than others would be able to.
Okay. Thank you, Mavie. That's perfect because it connects with what we are going to share with you in this transformation journey. So thank you for your advice, Jigyasa and Mathieu. In a few minutes.
Sure, I can go. I think the pressure to be a change maker can sometimes also be very, very real. I think one of the things that I've learned is that, in a world that is like constantly trying to turn us into something else or tell us who we are, really pursuing something that you feel deeply passionate about, that you want to see differently in the world. Like if you put your effort, if you put your heart and soul into it, I feel like that itself makes so much of a difference. That itself makes the world better. And in this process, there's a beautiful analogy. It's from a meditative practice called Vipassana. And the analogy is that in life, you could be, doing an interplay between light and dark. So you could be going from dark to more dark, or light to light, or light to dark, or you might be going from dark to light. And as long as you're going towards light, why should the speed matter? Sometimes we are so consumed in the idea of how fast we're going towards light that we forget that it's the going towards light that is important. Not the speed at which you're going. We all have our own speeds, and I hope we can all embrace that.
Thank you so much, Jigyasa. Yeah, you're right. Thank you so much, Mathieu.
Yes, on this question, on advice to become a change maker, I think it's funny because we are already all change makers, because we have so many changes happening in organizations today that currently, actually, we are really change makers. The real question for me is, what is the change that really counts for you? And where you want to be personally involved and have an impact? And once you have answered this question, and if you really believe in it, you will definitely become a corporate change maker, and the rest, I think, will follow. So choose the change you want to really have an impact on, and the rest will get you in the book.
Yeah, thank you, Mathieu. Thank you very much to all of you. It connects with what Satish was just saying before, and exactly with what we want to share with you in this online transformation journey. So thank you so much for your time. Maybe Romain, you can we can go on to the questions from the audience.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for your accounts, your great stories and sharings. Well, and thank you all of you for your questions. So let's start. We have a few minutes left. We have we can take 2 or 3 maybe. So I propose to start with the first one. What was your first step as a change maker. So I propose the one who's ready starts among you three. Thank you.
I can go because it was such a
go, Jigyasa.
No, Matthew, go for it.
go, please.
Go, Matthew.
Okay. First step, when I started my program on social entrepreneurship in Danone, it was really to say two questions. First, why do I want to do that? What is really my inner why on this? What moves me right now? What do I want to change? And secondly, is to be surrounded with colleagues and starting discussing my idea and my challenge, my problem with my colleagues to start building alliances. Because a changemakers doesn't succeed alone. It's not possible. You have to always be surrounded with great people, greater than you, to make a real change. So my first really step was to build alliances, to discuss with colleagues, and to start the community to start this change.
Jigyasa?
Yeah, I can go now. I think I literally did what I said, which was doing something that I felt passionate about, doing something that brought me joy. And first it was becoming a teacher. I joined the Teach for India Fellowship and, taught in a low-income community for 2 years. I joined it because I felt that I enjoy teaching so much. And I might make some sort of difference if I become a teacher. And then the second part was about bringing art into my classrooms. I never started with, I want to become a social entrepreneur or I want to start an organization. It really came from a place of I brought in a lot of music, theater, poetry into my own class because those were such joyful experiences for me when I was a child. And I felt like every child should have them. And later, organically, it grew and became an organization on its own. So my first step was really to do something that brought me joy, but also added some value to the world.
I don't know, Mavie, if you want to share something on this.
Yeah, mine is closer to what Matthew was talking about, like pick the problems that you want to solve or you want to contribute to. So I knew from the get-go that I wanted to go into impact work. So that's, I guess, the first assumption that this is something that interests you. The second is I knew I wanted to go into either education or women's health, which are two sectors that are largely underserved, where I'm from. And I would imagine in many parts of the world. And then the third is find an organization or a group of people that you find credible, that you think inject a lot of rigor in their work and discipline and not just, I guess, passion. Passion is important, but it can only get you so far, right? You need mechanisms to translate your passion into results. And so I looked for the organization that I wanted to work with and for. I researched, and then I just submitted an application. They didn't have any openings on the website. I literally just said, this is my CV, tried to find people I knew in common with the CEO, and then tried to get her to have coffee with me and say, like, these are the things I can do. So the keynote message about cultivating courage, that's very real. You just have to take the leap and, take risks if this is really something you wanted to do.
Thank you so much. And there's another question that is making its way, which is this one. How do you measure your impact?
I guess I can start because my mic is off.
Thank you.
Mathieu and Jigyasa can take it. So I'm going to try and answer this quickly in two ways. So I guess the first one is the more philosophical one, and the second one is more technical. So in our organization, I talked about culture earlier, right? I think before you can even approach trying to look at impact and looking at outcomes and measurement, you want to have an enabling culture in your organization. Matthew said that, you can't do this work alone. You have to do it with other people. And so you can't really launch compelling measurement efforts if you don't have a group of people who are buying into the idea that measurement is important. and that accountability is important. So I would say that would be the foundation by which any type of measurement or any type of culture that looks at accountability and that takes it seriously can really thrive. On the more technical side, my first role actually in the organization was on data and impact assessment. So our organization is quite unique in that from the get-go, from the highest level of governance, like from the board to the senior leaders, there was a deep recognition of the importance of measurement. And so part of my job in the early years was to set up the strategy and the mandate for this function team, for this department essentially. And where we landed on is creating a team that looks at research and research agenda. So looking at the big questions that we had about our work and investigating that. So employing best practices in research, leveraging expertise outside through researchers or academics who can give us input into how to set up measurement. And then the other piece is data systems, right? So if you don't have, if you know what questions you want to answer, then you have to figure out how to answer them by identifying which data that you need. And so part of my role was building this team and creating a structure and a system around it so that it becomes embedded in our work. And let me tell you, 6 years in, 6.5 years in, it's still not done. You're never gonna get an end state for as long as your programs and your work is evolving if you're doing it right. But the goal is to continue pushing your thinking and investing in resources so that you're not just doing things, and essentially you're marrying an emphasis on quantitative research, measurable outcomes, but also the core of your work, which is the stories, right? And the stories of transformation that, you know, are not captured by the numbers, but should matter as much when we think about our impact and the work that we do. And so I would say those two things would be super important, building a culture, but also making sure that technically you set your team up well so that you can measure impact. Our work is available on our website if you want to check it out. I recognize I didn't answer the question specifically, but I thought that would be more helpful to people in the room.
I don't know, Mathieu or Jigyasa, if you want to add something. We have 1-2 minutes left, and then of course any one of you can reach out to our speakers.
I can go. I think as a corporate change maker, the impact is really depending on what you want to change at the beginning. So it's different from changing if you want that your company becomes a big corp, or if you want to transform the way you do your job, is different. So the impact will be measured differently. On the one hand, it will be very easy, big corp or not. And the other one, changing an entire way of doing a job, like accountant and so on, is much more difficult to measure. On both situations, it's always valuable to have tangible impacts. The most difficult is to have intangible impacts. So that's why I totally agree with Mavie that as corporate change makers, what you change is also a culture, a way of seeing things, a way of moving things. And the stories are very powerful for that in a way to have a feedback on your impact. The last thing on the impact measurement is that it's taking time, a lot of time. And sometimes you don't manage the time that it will take. So when you say measuring the impact, it's sometimes to have a long view, measuring regularly the progression. For example, at the end of my social entrepreneurship program, they didn't want to reconduct this program. But 3 years after, it was not me, but the sponsor of my program who relaunched it more massively. So sometimes you're only a gardener that is planting a seed, and the flower will come much after you. So, but I think it's still impactful as a change maker.
I can also just quickly add to that. I think especially because we work in the area of social emotional learning, there is huge disparity on what social emotional learning means to different organizations across different countries. Even in education, there are no standards like foundational literacy and numeracy have like legit standards across the world, but that is not the case for social emotional learning. And at Slam Out Loud, what we've tried to do is, while qualitatively see how our kids' stories are changing, how their own identities, how they think about themselves and their culture is changing, we also measure how they grow across 6 skills that we call the creative confidence skills at Slam Out Loud. And we monitor how they grow through that, through self-assessments, peer assessments, through assessments that their teachers do, and stakeholder interviews, like, asking parents, asking other teachers what are changes they're observing in children. And of course, then, while these are a lot of impact metrics, then there are also things like, how does a child's attendance in school change because they're doing more arts, how interested they are in other activities now, and some more, how many courses they complete, etc., which is more on the outputs sort of end. So a mix of that, whatever enables us to see that our programs are actually working, and we should continue doing them.
Thank you so much, all of you three. And this is good news. This connects powerfully with our product, and we'll go directly towards in a minute. So we'll hand over to Benedict and Juliette that will tell you more about the very content of this. Let's go.
Yes, thank you, Romain. Hello, everyone. Benedict and I, we are very happy to be able to present you a preview of the content of this new training journey. Our dream was to create the first free training journey accessible anywhere in the world to engage in a career with impact, whatever your age, whatever your background, whatever your country. So you have the power to transform our world through your work. And so this new program will be launched before summer 2023. It will be free of charge and 100% online. It will be available in English with English, French, and Spanish subtitles on the Coursera platform. And it targets anyone who wants to have an impact through their work and want to reconcile career and positive impact on social issues. More than 20 pioneers around the world will inspire you with their testimonies, like we saw today with our free interns, and they show you that it is possible to reconcile career and impact, and they will give you their advice to take action. They all represent an overview of changemakers, so entrepreneurs, impact employees, or corporate changemakers, as you see today with Mathieu, Mavie, and Jigyasa. And Benedict, if you hear me.
Yes. Hello, thank you, Juliette. So hello everyone. So this MOOC also includes tools to take action with the teaching staff of HEC Paris and of Ticket for Change. And also you will join an international community ready to change the world. And here is the content of the course. So you start with 3 modules in common to find your way as a change maker. So in module 1, the idea is to look at what are the different paths to become a change maker, and also why it is important to become a change maker, which leads us to the second module. And the second module will focus on the world's biggest challenges, the planetary boundaries, the social issues. And we'll ask we propose you to ask yourself, what are the issues that move you most? The issues you feel concerned with. And this leads us to module 3, which is actually more introspective. In module 3, you will explore your purpose, try to discover your purpose, and choose your unique way of becoming a change maker. So, for example, coming back to what Jigyasa said, sorry, what gives you, what is your contribution, what will give you joy, and what will add value to the world. So that's, yeah, the purpose, the key, I would say, the heart of the MOOC. And then you have 3 paths to take action for each way of being a change maker. So you can choose one of the 3 paths, or you can follow the 3 paths. So in module 4A, you will look at how to become a social entrepreneur, launching your social enterprise. Then you have module 4B, which is on impact employee, finding your dream job. For example, joining an existing organization that works for impact. So that's module 4B. And then module 4C is about becoming a corporate change maker and transforming your existing organization from the inside.
Okay. Thank you, Juliette. Thank you, Benedict. Can you hear me well? It's okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes. Thank you, Benedict and Juliette, for the amazing work you've done this past months to make this possible. We hope that this give you inspiration and energy to discover the content very soon. We wish we could show you a preview of some videos today, but as every entrepreneurial project, there is a lot of surprise every day, and today the content is still in the integration phase on Coursera, so it's not possible to show you the first video today, but please stay tuned, and you will receive very soon an email before summer with the link as soon as the course is open on Coursera. Before closing this chapter of the presentation of this new transformative journey, we wanted to ask you if you see yourself more as a corporate change maker, a social entrepreneur, or an impact employee. So don't worry if you don't know yet. It's okay. It's just to give you us an idea. So if you can answer the question on the klaxon, it would be amazing. So do you see yourself as a corporate change maker, social entrepreneur, or impact employee today? And if you have any technical problems, you can ask a question on the chat. So, what kind of change maker do you want to become? Okay. It's too. Okay. Almost 60% social entrepreneur, corporate change maker 14, and 32 impact employee, and 5% you don't know yet. It's okay. It's the objective of the course. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Again, if you have any question, you can ask them on the chat, and I'll give the floor or the mic, I don't know how to say, to Adele for the small group sharing.
Yes. Hi, everyone, again. Thank you, Joséphine. Yes, so together we're going to do a small exercise. As you've already noticed, we wanted you to be actors of this webinar. And so together, we're going to start with a very short exercise, and then you'll be divided through group sharings, through different breakout rooms, so you can share together and meet all of you, because I'm pretty sure you have many things to talk about and to discuss about. So together, we're going to visualize the impact you dream of having for your country. Visualizations are very powerful, and visualizing positive thoughts can attract positive elements in our lives. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'll guide you throughout the whole visualization. You'll hear me ask you a lot of questions, but don't try to answer them all. Just catch the ones that feel important for you without even thinking about it. Just trust that you'll hear and memorize exactly what you need. Okay, ready? Now, I'm going to ask you to put your feet on the ground and close your eyes. Yes, I know I'm asking you very difficult things today. You can close your eyes, put your hands on your thighs, and just start by taking a few breaths. Just relax. And now I want you to try to connect with the problem that affects you the most in your country. Try not to think about it, just to connect with an emotion linked to this problem. It could be a problem you've heard or read about recently, or maybe a long time ago. It may be connected to your personal history or not. It may be linked to a memory. Try to connect with the emotion linked to this problem. It may be sadness, angriness, revolt, or joy, passion. Remember that there are no bad emotions. Just connect with this emotion. And now, how do you imagine yourself contributing to solving this problem? What kind of change maker do you imagine yourself to become? You've already answered the question through Klaxoon. Maybe you picture yourself inventing a new solution to this problem and becoming a social entrepreneur like Jigyasa. Or maybe you picture yourself tackling this issue from within a big company as a corporate change maker like Mathieu. Or do you imagine yourself putting your talents to the service of an existing impactful organization as an impact employee like Mavie? What impact would you like to have on this problem in your country? Dare to dream big. There are no limits to what you can do to solve this problem. If you could do anything you want, what would you dream of doing? What impact would you dream to have? You may have images coming up, figures, sensations, emotions. Stay with this for a few seconds. Take another breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes, come back to the room with us. For the second part of this exercise, you'll be sent in breakout rooms with 5 other people during around 15 minutes, and you'll have 2 minutes each to share. We're going to write down the questions in the chat, but I'll tell you first. So each of you will say your name and country, why you came to this webinar today, and of course, your dream for your country, what you just visualized. What is the challenge you dreamt about, and what is the challenge you visualized, and what is the dream you have to solve this challenge in your country. Please be aware of the time, so we'll let you autonomous. So if you can have someone, do the clock, so each of you can can talk for 2 minutes. And then we'll come back all together to conclude this webinar. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them on the chat. Otherwise, we'll do the breakout rooms for 10 to 15 minutes.
Your sharings, all your thoughts, your participation. In my mind, I personally will keep this kind of balance that we perceived from the speakers, from great excitement, passion, and so on, and also this profoundness, this seriousness, this commitment, very deep and very interesting. So we hope, and I hope that it gave you the same energy and a lot of inspiration and desire to go further and to make the most of this MOOC that is coming in the coming weeks and months. So we can finish with a quick checking out. And we have a question for you, which is, what will you personally take away from this webinar? And so in one word, you can share this idea or this emotion or anything that will be your takeaway. You can share it in Klaxoon, as always. So yes, thank you. What will be your takeaway after this webinar? So far, it's exclusively positive. It's good news. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Community, energy, optimism, courage, inspiration, connectedness. Okay, that's nice. Thank you so much, everyone. We have been super happy with Romain and all the team to facilitate this webinar. It was amazing to see you coming from all over the world. So thank you again to the team behind the organization of this webinar. It was great to be able to share with you the content in advance. Our shared mission at HEC and Ticket for Change is to inspire, to train, to federate a network and a community of changemakers through their work. And it was incredible to see this international community being created. So please stay tuned. See you in a few weeks for the release of the online course. In the meantime, we hope we are going to surveiller, watch your inbox for the announcement of the launching of this MOOC, and we are available if you have any questions. So thank you again, everyone, and have a good end of day, night, morning. I don't know. Thank you, everyone.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.